Hi everyone, my name is Lieutenant Colonel Ned Lynch. I'm a student at the University of Western States getting an educational doctorate in sport and performance psychology, and this is a video on mental toughness for 7445. Today is the 9th of November of 2017. Talking about mental toughness today. The objectives are to discuss what is mental toughness and learn about it and how to develop it in your athletes. An overview, I'm going to talk about my definition and the definition that others have of mental toughness, which is there's a lot of opinions about it basically. I'm going to give you some tips to develop it in your life and sport. And then I'm going to talk about grit as in mental toughness, but also as reference to an acronym for goal setting, self-regulation, imagery, and talk, and how you can use that for your sport preparation. But before I begin, I just want to tell you a quick story. I was talking to my wife yesterday before I did a presentation for Veterans Day at a local high school. And I said, as a fighter pilot, we never talked about mental toughness because it was an assumed product of your life. There was no discussion of mental toughness. Matter of fact, if you didn't have mental toughness, then you wouldn't be a fighter pilot. And it doesn't mean that you didn't have a bad day, which a lot of people did. And possibly it's because the mental toughness was wavering that day and they didn't have what it took. And so they're no longer with us. So in my line of business, it's a life or death versus just winning and losing. And my sport was dogfighting, which is when you weigh, let's just say you weigh 200 pounds, we're talking 1,800 pounds of pressure on you. So there's a lot of physical and mental and spiritual that goes into dogfighting or in dropping bombs on cities and structures and people. So I want to just first talk about a little bit about who I am. Is I was the man who left nothing to chance. It's on a plaque that someone gave me. They came up with that definition that I was the man who left nothing to chance because I was always prepared for my missions. And I always had multiple backups. Now imagine me, the guy that writes 24-page papers on a subject, is I covered every detail and I rehearsed it with imagery. And then I had my own personal self-talk. I talked to myself a lot in a positive way and sometimes negative if I need to. And goal setting was just part of a byproduct of being a fighter pilot as well. And all the way down to the exact processes that increased your performance. And performance was what it's all about. And the outcome was always going to be success and that you were going to come home alive. I didn't ever have hope. I didn't go out the door going, I hope that I have mental toughness today. I hope that we have a good flight. No, we're going to. It was a self-determination. It was going to happen. There was never even the word of hope. Matter of fact, that is a word in the fighter pilot vocabulary that doesn't exist unless you're dead. So back to mental toughness, which all this does apply to it. And if you see up here, this right here is all about mental toughness. Now, I'm not into displaying awards and all that stuff. Matter of fact, this office of mine is not one that I have taken people to. It's up in the attic. This is my attic space. And this is the Distinguished Fallen Cross for Valor. Same award given to Charles Lindbergh when he crossed the Atlantic. And I don't take any vanity in this valor because I risk my life. And this just reminds me, is all it is. It's not on display for you. It's on display for me to remind me that I was mental tough that night. And I still can remain mental tough in all that I do. Because now I rock climb, and rock climbing is dangerous if you're not doing it right. But if you're doing it right, then it's no problem. But mental toughness plays in every time I go and climb. Let's just talk quick on Sun Tzu. Sun Tzu said, if you know yourself and you know your enemy, then you don't have any fear over 100 battles. Well, every time you get on that court, you are in a battle. to win. And it takes an intense effort. And preparation is key. So if you prepare and you have all your contingencies covered and you have a backup plan and you know how to execute it in the moment when you need to. Now, I like to talk about situational awareness, high SA, situational awareness. You got to be able to take from the past the relevant stuff and apply it right now to the moment. And then you got to project it into the future, all within a few nanoseconds, especially if you're at low altitude at 600 knots, or you're on a fast break on a basketball court. It's the same thing. You got to have a plan ready to execute at all times. Now, we can talk about all the C's. We can talk about control. Yes, you want to have control. You can control your attitude, your effort, and your focus. You can, and I like to say that you like to have situational awareness and prioritized. You got to be able to prioritize things in the right manner in the moment. And the challenge is you got to be always looking for opportunities to grow. You can't always take the easy way out. You don't take the easy road. You take the hard road, because the hard road is going to develop you and build your strengths. And you want to align your goals with your strengths, and you want to align your life with your strengths so that you can continue excelling. Commitment. It takes a commitment. I was a fighter pilot. I lived and breathed it. Now I'm rock climbing. I got to take that in stride because I have a family. I can't let that overconsume me. But as a fighter pilot, it was an elite status. It overconsumed you, because if it didn't, then you were going to die. So it just depends on what you want to do that day. Confidence. Yes, confidence is a byproduct. If you're prepared and you are anticipating every moment, then you're going to have total confidence in your abilities to make things happen. You're not going to hope for confidence. You're not going to hope that things work out. You're going to make things work out. If it's not working out, then you're going to adapt to the situation and make it work out. It's pretty easy. Composed, ability to stay focused and deal with adversity. Well, every flight was about adversity. I mean, you didn't even walk out the door. I mean, you went out the door for adversity. You went out to engage adversity and live it with an intentional effort to win and come back alive. We had a thing called BOTACHA, Bombs on Target, Come Home Alive. It was an acronym. That's the number one objective of our flight, is BOTACHA. Okay, composed, I've already talked about. Courage. Need I say any more? Willing to take the risk. I mean, you got to add in your goal setting and your processes, you got to add just a little bit of fun every once in a while. And I know I look pretty intense, but I'm a pretty nice guy. I was a guy who always had one little thing that was fun during the flight. Everyone's all serious and all uptight about everything in life. And if you're stiff and uptight, you're not going to perform well. You're not going to be creative. You're not going to be able to have that imagery, because you're cluttering up you're tightening up your right side of the brain. And so you guarantee you that when Ned Lynch came home on a flight, especially in Korea, where we could get away with everything, I mean, we're hauling butt. We're going to be down low in the weeds, and we're probably going to buzz a ski resort or cruise down some mountain valley and have a good time and yank and bank and do everything. I came up initial over the base once at 550 knots and did a 9G turn brake. I didn't think I was going to get slowed down in the traffic pattern to get my landing gear down, because I was so fast and I pulled so many G's, and I was only just 1,000 feet above the ground. That's the kind of stuff. Or going supersonic all the time, just to create a sonic boom. It was all about having a little bit of fun in the seriousness of flying a jet. Okay, so that's the courage part. Consistency, inner strength. I tell people I served only one night in the Air Force, and that's when this award up here, okay? This award right here, Distinguished Flying Cross for Valor. It still resonates with me deeply. And that's the one night I served. The rest of my life, at that time I was 40 years old, that's almost 15 years ago, it was about preparation for that night. All my years in the Air Force, all my upbringing, all my school teachers, my coaches taught me mental toughness. And you can get emotional on mental toughness. It's inner strength. 40-something years of inner strength built by other people through relationships. Now, I wanted to play you a little bit about what it sounds like for
Fast there. We need your help, okay? What can you ask for us to do? Do you want us to put a strobe on everything around us within 300 meters, totally and utterly destroy? We are surrounded. They have taken all lights out.
Okay, so you got some people surrounded. What are you going to do? You're unexpectedly put in the moment to win the championship. You're the one who's going to kick the field goal. You're the one who's going to run and catch the basketball and get it in the basket. Are you do have what it takes? Do you have the inner strength built by your coaches, by your teachers, by your parents, by all the training you've done? Are you really in the moment? Are you really the athlete you say you are? You got to dig down deep, inner strength, and make it happen. It doesn't matter. There's people depending on you for their lives, and you have to make it happen. And that was my one night of service right there. And you heard those people calling. They weren't even They weren't even from the Air Force of the United States of America. They were from a British special unit. Okay. I'm also going to play you how to be calm in the moment. I don't really understand how I did it. Okay, I was in the moment. When you're in the moment, there's no pressure to perform. There's no pressure because of the past. There's no pressure in the future. This is what it sounded like when I had a missile shot up at me.
Got a missile launch.
All I said was I got a missile launch.
Wondered if we're cleared it in at base +2.
I'm sitting there, I'm maneuvering, and I just go, I got a missile launch. It wasn't like, I got a missile launch, oh my God. No, I got a missile launch. And I did the process. I did the reaction and survived. Okay, I've had 9 lives. I shouldn't be here. I've been lucky, but I've always been in the moment when it counted. Sometimes, it's hard to be in the moment continuously. And I mean, you're going to take these little mental breaks, and then you're going to come alive when you need to. And that sometimes is luck, and sometimes it's just your brain has been prepared so well. You've prepared for that game so well that it doesn't matter what happens in that game. You know what to do in that moment. If you're just having a little downtime, rest, and you have to come alive and make it happen. You don't have time to sit there and have a business meeting to discuss all your objectives and all your different ways of things that you can make. What are we going to do here? It's like you got to react right now. And I'm not talking about an emotional reaction. I'm talking about a response, a definite intentional response based on your prior preparation that's just going to come out naturally. It's not something you're going to have to dig deep and find. It's going to come out naturally. I talked about planning, anticipating, and prioritization and situation awareness and being proactive. You can't just be reactive. You got to be proactive, and you got to be able to respond in the moment. Now,